Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Be Like Christ. Now, I may be filming this on my phone because I may have left the country without my camera or the memory card that had these videos pre-recorded on them. So I'm not admitting to anything, but it's possible that that's the situation. It's possible that the audio on this video is going to be really bad because I don't have a microphone. I possibly left that behind as well. But again, these are all hypothetical. So let's talk about Judges chapter 10, and you can download this PDF on our website. The website has not lost the file or forgotten the file, so you can trust that it'll be there. All right, Judges chapter 10. Who are the judges that we're going to be talking about in this chapter? We've got two new ones who we're only going to talk about briefly. We don't know a lot about these guys. First is Tola and Jair. Now, we move down to our timeline section. When did these events happen? The period of the judges was approximately, well, it fell somewhere between 1450 BC and 1000 BC. Now, this chapter covers approximately 63, or at least 63 years of time. We're told that Tola judged for 23 years, Jair judged for 22 years, and then the Israelites were oppressed by the Philistines and the Amorites for 18 years. Which gives us at least 63 years. In terms of our map, most of Judges 10 takes place and centers around the area of Gilead. Gilead was a region on the eastern side of the Jordan River. Manasseh's land and Gad's land were in Gilead. And then our characters. We've already introduced a couple, but Tola. Tola is the seventh judge of Israel. He was the grandson of Pua and the son of Dodo. So some great ancestral names there. Jair is the eighth judge of Israel, and he was a man from Gilead, which we mentioned was on the east side of the Jordan River. And then we're going to talk about the Philistines and the Ammonites. They, quote, crushed and oppressed the people of Israel for 18 years. Now move over to our outline section. We're going to try to be brief because my arm is tired already from holding up my phone. Section number 1, Tola, the seventh judge of Israel, verses 1 through 2. After the death of Abimelech, which we talked about in the last chapter, Tola judged Israel for 23 years. And we're told that Tola was from the tribe of Issachar. We don't really know very much else about him other than that. Which leads us to our second section, Jair, the eighth judge of Israel, verses 3 through 5. After Tola, Jair judged Israel for 22 years. And pretty much the only thing that we know about him is that he had 30 sons who rode on 30 donkeys, and they had 30 cities. And then our final section, verses 6 through 18, the Israelites turn away from God again. They begin the cycle again. So the Israelites stopped worshiping God and they devoted themselves to the idols of the pagans around them. God was angry at them, and he allowed the Philistines and the Ammonites to oppress the people of Gilead. The Ammonites also made war with some other tribes in some other areas in Israel, namely Judah, Benjamin, and Ephraim. Now the Israelites realized after they had been oppressed for a while that they had done wrong. They cried out to God for help, and they asked him to deliver them as he had in the past. But this time, God was not as quick to extend his saving mercy to them. He said, you know what, you can direct your pleas to your false gods. See if they'll answer you. In penance and in a repeated attempt to get God to save them, the Israelites put away their idols and they started worshiping God the way the law of Moses had instructed them to do all along. And God's heart slowly softened to them. The text says that he could no longer endure the misery of Israel, and he was going to save them again, as we'll see in the upcoming chapters. This chapter ends with Israel's enemies preparing for battle in Gilead, and the people of Israel searching for a man who can lead them in battle against the Ammonites. That's how we're going to get introduced to a guy named Jephthah in the upcoming chapters. And now for our application section. My arm is really tired. I might have to switch to my left hand, but I think it's going to block the camera. Yeah, probably. Okay, application section. We'll be quick. The decisions that you make today and your commitment to God today will affect the lives of your posterity, of your descendants. Israel was surrounded by and tempted by pagan nations because their ancestors, their forefathers, had failed to follow God's directions and to cast those pagan nations out of the land. Yes, the current generation of Israelites was responsible for their own sins, but their circumstances were negatively affected by their parents. When it comes to serving God, set your children and your grandchildren up for success. Do the best you can to serve God today so you don't create hazards that your children are going to trip on in the future.